Just weeks ago, she was seeded number 29 at Wimbledon, a historic first for any Filipino player. Now, Alex EALA has done the impossible. A jump of 12 spots in the Grand Slam seeding order has left the tennis world in shock. And with the US Open draw set to be announced, one question echoes through Arthur Ashe Stadium. Is she the most dangerous player in the draw? At Wimbledon, Alex EALA made history simply by stepping onto the court as the number 29 seed, the first Filipino player to be seeded in a Grand Slam singles draw. She was already a pioneer. She was already rewriting the record books. But what happened in the weeks that followed left the tennis world struggling to process the magnitude of her rise. Just 6 weeks after that historic Wimbledon seeding, EALA is projected to enter the US Open as number 17 seed, a 12-spot jump, in less than 2 months. The numbers tell a story of relentless ambition. On August 3, EALA broke into the top 20 for the first time, climbing to number 20 after her historic Washington Open title. By August 24, she had climbed 2 more spots to a career-high No. 18 in the WTA rankings, collecting 2,281 points. And with the withdrawal of world number 15 Victoria Mboko, she is projected to move up another notch to number 17 in the US Open seeding. The significance of this jump cannot be overstated. EALA has gone from being a newcomer in the Grand Slam seedings to a player who will likely face unseeded opponents in the first 2 rounds. She has gone from being a player who had to prove herself against the best to a player who has earned the respect of the entire tour. She's on the cusp, said Greg Rusedski, the former US Open finalist. I wouldn't be surprised if she's in the quarters or semis. She's that good. What makes this jump even more remarkable is the speed. In March, EALA was ranked number 32. By August, she had climbed 14 spots and was knocking on the door of the top 15. The tennis world is still trying to understand how a player who was outside the top 100 just 18 months ago has become one of the highest-seeded players at the US Open. But the math behind the madness is just beginning to make sense. The rise from number 29 at Wimbledon to a projected number 17 seed at the US Open was already staggering. But what happened next caught everyone off guard and gave EALA an unexpected boost that could shape her entire campaign. Victoria Mboko, the world No. 15 from Canada, had withdrawn from the US Open main draw due to a left knee injury. One player's misfortune became another player's opportunity. With Mboko out, EALA was projected to move up 1 more spot in the seeding order, from number 18 to number 17. The significance of this shift cannot be overstated. A No. 17 seed means EALA will likely face unseeded players in the first 2 rounds, giving her a clearer runway toward a deep run. She will avoid the top seeds until at least the 3rd round, where she could face a player seeded between number 9 and number 16. A No. 17 seed would be EALA's highest seeding in a Grand Slam, topping her number 29 at Wimbledon, the Manila Times reported. That Wimbledon seeding had already made history. She was the first Filipino player ever seeded in a Grand Slam singles draw. Now she was about to surpass that milestone in spectacular fashion. The withdrawal came at a critical moment. EALA had just climbed to a career-high No. 18 in the WTA rankings, collecting 2,281 points after an impressive North American hardcourt swing that included her historic Washington Open title. Her seeding boost, combined with her ranking momentum, has created what analysts are calling a perfect storm for a deep run at Flushing Meadows. The numbers paint a clear picture of her trajectory. July, Wimbledon, number 29 seed. August, US Open projected, No. 17 seed ranking jump. 12 spots in the seeding order in just 6 weeks. Greg Rusedski, the former US Open finalist, believes EALA is ready to capitalize. She's on this cusp, Rusedski said. She's the first Filipina to make the 4th round of a major. I wouldn't be surprised if she's in the quarters or semis. She's that good. The withdrawal of Mboko has turned a historic seeding into an even more favorable opportunity. And with the US Open draw set to be announced, the tennis world is waiting to see just how far the EALA Express can go. The jump from number 29 at Wimbledon to a projected number 17 seed at the US Open wasn't luck. It was the product of a meticulously constructed campaign that saw EALA transform from a Grand Slam newcomer into one of the most feared players on tour. The numbers tell the story of her relentless ascent. On August 3, EALA broke into the top 20 for the first time, climbing to number 20 after her historic Washington Open title. By August 24, she had climbed 2 more spots to a career-high number 18 in the WTA rankings, collecting 2,281 points. The significance of this ranking extends far beyond the Philippines. EALA is now the highest-ranked female tennis player from Southeast Asia in history. She surpassed Indonesia's Wimbledon and Thailand's Tamarine Tanasagarn, both of whom reached a best ranking of number 19 during their careers. Basuki reached No. 19 in October 1997, the same year as she advanced to the Wimbledon quarterfinals. Tanasagarn matched that ranking in May 2002 during a career that included 4 WTA singles titles. EALA celebrated the milestone with a playful Instagram story. "Turned 18 twice in this lifetime," she wrote over a screenshot of her updated WTA profile. The first time came on her 18th birthday in May 2023. The second arrived 3 years later, when a number beside her name confirmed just how rapidly she had ascended in professional tennis. The journey to number 18 was built on a series of breakthrough performances. At Wimbledon, she stormed up the rankings to a then-career-high No. 28 after picking up wins over Renata Zarazua, Maya Joint, and defending champion Iga Swiatek to reach the 4th round. In July, she was seeded No. 29 at Wimbledon, the first Filipino player ever seeded in a Grand Slam singles draw. Just weeks later, at the DC Open, she earned 500 ranking points, her largest single tournament haul, and climbed 8 places to number 20. Her Washington run included victories over Olympic gold medalist Jung Chin-wen, defending champion Leylah Fernandez, world number 10 Alina Svitolina, and 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka. The math behind the madness is simple. EALA's 2,281 points reflect a player who has beaten the best, reached the second week of a Grand Slam, and established herself as a legitimate threat on the WTA Tour. And with the US Open seeding set to be announced, the tennis world is waiting to see just how far the EALA Express can go. When Alex EALA steps onto the court at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center, she won't just be a player with a career-high ranking, she'll be a No. 17 seed, a position that has turned her from a challenger into a player who is expected to make a deep run. The significance of this seeding cannot be overstated. At Wimbledon just weeks ago, EALA was seeded number 29, a historic first for any Filipino player. Now, she has climbed 12 spots in the Grand Slam seeding order, a jump that has left analysts scrambling for explanations. The math behind the jump is straightforward. EALA is ranked No. 18 in the official WTA rankings with 2,281 points. With world number 15 Victoria Mboko withdrawing from the US Open due to injury, EALA is projected to move up 1 spot to number 17 in the seeding order. A No. 17 seed would be her highest seeding in a Grand Slam, surpassing her number 29 at Wimbledon, where she became the first Filipino player ever seeded in a Grand Slam singles draw. What No. 17 means for her draw is even more important. As a projected top 17 seed, EALA will likely face unseeded players in the first 2 rounds, giving her a clearer runway toward a deep run. She could avoid top seeds until at least the 3rd round, where she could face a player seeded between number 9 and number 16. Greg Rusedski, the 1997 US Open finalist and former world No. 4, has already backed EALA to capitalize on this opportunity. "She's on the cusp," Rusedski said on his podcast. "She's the first Filipina to make the 4th round of a major. I wouldn't be surprised if she's in the quarters or semi." The seeding also carries another layer of significance. EALA is now officially the highest-ranked Southeast Asian woman in WTA Tour history. She has surpassed Indonesia's Yayuk Basuki and Thailand's Tamarine Tanasagarn, both of whom reached a best ranking of number 19. EALA celebrated the milestone with a playful Instagram story. "Turned 18 twice in this lifetime," over a screenshot of her updated WTA profile. But the seeding is not just about history. With a win in the first round, EALA would gain 70 points and potentially climb to number 17 in the live rankings. Reaching the third round would push her closer to the world's top 15, while a magical title run with 2,000 points would have her knocking at the world's top 10. The message from the tennis world is clear. Number 17 is not a destination, it is a launching pad. And for Alex EALA, the launch is just beginning. The seeding is set, the draw is looming, and the tennis world has delivered its verdict. Alex EALA is the most dangerous player in the field. Greg Rusedski, the 1997 U.S. Open finalist and former world number 4, has been unequivocal in his assessment. She's on the cusp, Rusedski said on his podcast. She's the first Filipina to make the 4th round of a major. I wouldn't be surprised if she's in the quarters or semis. She's that good. The former British star didn't stop there. He pointed to EALA'S mentality as her greatest weapon. Everybody can play, but it's a swagger, it's the belief, it's in between the ears, it's the intensity. She goes tick, 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 tick in all boxes. Rick Macci, the legendary coach who guided Serena and Venus Williams, has been equally effusive. In a series of social media posts, Macci predicted that EALA would create a New York buzz on Arthur Ashe Stadium. The Philippines is home to many diverse bees, but none have the sting and will create more of a New York buzz than the Philippine machine. EALA will on Ashe Stadium. Macci also analyzed EALA's game, noting that opponents will likely target her second serve. Players now will attack her second serve even though it has a tricky, slow lefty curve. Matchups mean a lot with a certain style, but she plays the ball so her game is more opponent-proof to go an extra mile. The warning is clear. EALA is ready. She enters the U.S. Open with a career-high number 18 ranking and a projected number 17 seed that will give her a favorable path in the early rounds. Her North American hardcourt swing has been nothing short of spectacular. A title in Washington, a 4th-round run in Toronto, and a 3rd-round showing in Cincinnati. Rusedski believes she can go even further. I think she big. There's certain players who love walking on Arthur Ashe Stadium, who like to play on the big stadiums, who want to be on the big stadiums. That's what I feel with EALA. The field has been warned. The highest-ranked Southeast Asian woman in WTA history has arrived, and she's ready to make noise. Alex EALA's historic jump from number 29 at Wimbledon to a projected No. 17 seed at the U.S. Open in just weeks has stunned the tennis world. She has climbed to a career-high number 18 in the WTA rankings, becoming the highest-ranked Southeast Asian woman in history. Greg Rusedski predicts she could reach the quarterfinals or semifinals, calling her mentality second to none. Rick Macci, the legendary coach of Serena and Venus Williams, believes EALA will create a New York buzz on Arthur Ashe Stadium. The field has been warned. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you the biggest stories in tennis, drama, and emotion every single week. Don't miss what happens next.